on the mat. So we're going to start today on the floor in Supta Padangusthasana, and I'm going to take a strap, making a little loop in our straps. I generally have one because there we go. And lying down right in the middle of our mat. Lining the feet up. Moving the buttocks towards the heels and using the heels to pull the buttocks towards them. So igniting that relationship there. Starting this process of turning our minds inwards and observing. Placing, observing, breathing. And now bending that right leg. And sliding our hands down the strap so that we've got these beautiful long lines, long lengths happening. Press that left heel down into the ground. And imagine the right heel is pressing against a wall, and see how the leg becomes more vibrant than before. And stretch the arms and feel the armpits stretching and the waist stretching. And now reaching with our right hand for the strap, coming as close as we can to the foot. Lado Supta Padangusthasana. Repressing our left heel down. Pushing through the balls of the feet. And then bringing the leg back up. Changing hands, we're going to come to Parivrita Supta Padangusthasana. Left heel firm on the ground as we descend. And linking that right buttock to the right heel, lengthening from the right buttock bone down the length of the leg, out through the right heel. And coming back up. And releasing. Supta Tadasana, so we often travel a little bit along the mat, so just getting right in the middle again, rolling the shoulders back, and disciplining the mind to turn inwards and notice, slowing that external mind down. And now bending our left knee, and Supta Padangusthasana 1 on the left hand side. Pressing the right heel firmly down to the ground and imagining that our left heel is pressing into an invisible wall so that we invite full vibrancy into the legs. And now really stretching the arms and feeling both of the armpits stretching and the ribs underneath the armpits lifting off those side lungs. And now preparing for lateral Supta Padangusthasana. Really trying to wrap our muscles around the bones of the legs to have a compactness, a strength, as well as that length. Right heel firm, establishing presence there, keeps us anchored as we come down. And now linking the left buttock down the length of the left leg to the left heel. And coming back up. And releasing. Just feeling that, re-rolling the shoulders back. Taking a few breaths to observe shifts of sensation and shifts in the state of mind. And now bringing the both knees towards the chest, taking our strap again. And let's tie our legs up so that we have, as much as possible, evenness between the left and the right for the following supine twists that we're going to do. So tightening up, feeling the inner feet, feeling the inner knees. Arms extended to the side, coming to Jatara Parivartanasana. So bringing the knees to the right elbow. And then turning and twisting the trunk, the abdomen, the torso, the head to the left. And legs back up. And now this time we're going to move the knees to the left elbow. Here we go. And turning the abdomen, the breasts, the ribs, the neck, the head to the right, away from the bent legs. And then bring the legs back up. And we go again to the right hand side. We move this recorder to the left. Okay, stretching the arms. And exhale. Knees to the right, turn and twist to the left. Now really keeping the arms vibrant, stretching away from each other as if the arms started in the center of the chest. And as we stretch the arms, we're broadening the center of the chest. And then knees back up, preparing for the left hand side. And exhale. Pressing the backs of those hands down into the earth. Really stretching the arms from the center of the chest. See if you can feel the skin fibers of the sternum having a tearing sensation as you stretch the arms apart. And bring the legs back up and release. Okay, ready to roll up here. And finding Adho Mukha down. Looking at our hands to make sure we're maybe spreading the fingers as widely as we think we are. And looking at our elbows to check that we're really rolling the upper arms so that the inner elbows face forward. And holding all of that into place. And the head gently coming down, the brain releasing. And we see our feet, we see our shins, we're pushing the shins back. We're pushing the front thighs back. We're feeling the lift of the buttocks to the sky. And then stepping the right leg forward, simplified Ardha Uttanasana. Really widening the feet apart So we've got nice long length. We're lifting this front foot up, and as we lift it up, we're going to draw the femur bone right here into the hip socket, using our fingers to really dig it in, and then we place the foot back down and we keep that connection alive. And then exhaling forward. Staying present with the root of the head of that front femur bone, keep drawing it in. And then coming forward, moving the fingertips forward, half Vidya Vidasana 3, lifting the back leg, rolling that back thigh in, pushing out through the ball of the foot. Here again, pull the head of the femur bone into the hip socket. Really stay with that connection. And then stepping back and refinding simplified Parsvottanasana, immediately bringing the front foot up and using our fingers to scrape, skin the muscle, the bone into the hip socket. Before placing the foot back down, keeping that connection. And then stepping back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Pushing the shins back, pushing the thighs back, feeling the sit bones lift to the sky. And now left leg forward, simplified Parsvottanasana. Lifting that front foot up, using our left fingers to scrape the skin, the muscle, the bone of the head of the femur bone into the hip socket. And then placing the foot down and keeping that connection alive as we come forward. And now bending that front knee, bring the fingertips forward as we lift the back leg, rolling that back leg in, pushing out through the ball of the foot. And connecting with the head of the left femur bone, drawing it into the hip socket, even as we're pushing down into the foot. And back, simplified Parsvottanasana, lifting that foot up, reigniting that front femur bone head connection. And then stepping back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Check the fingers, check the inner elbows. Push the shins back, push the front thighs back. And check the sit bones. Can we spread them apart? Can we lift them up even higher? And down onto our knees, the Yoga Mudrasana in Vajrasana. But before we come forward to the Yoga Mudrasana, digging our fingertips in here, or the thumb, and the fingers on the outer hips. And with the thumb, push the front groin, deepen it, absorb the head of the femur bone into the hip socket, and with the fingers on the hips, roll those hips back and down to the ground. And then keeping that, which is hard, stretch the arms forward. Now we're going to use our exhalation to really connect with that shape that we're making in the front groin. So with each exhale, we're going to imagine that we're making the shape of a valley right here, and of course on the left front groin too. And as we exhale, this valley deepens, deepens, deepens until the valley starts to move out of the back bottom bones. Okay, so let's do about 5 long, smooth exhalations, really trying to connect evenly with both the left and the right. Simultaneous, even depth with each exhale. Okay, stepping the right leg forward and moving that left knee back. So now we're stretching the front of that left hip flexor, which is the same area that we were absorbing the head of the femur bone. So we're going to just try to stretch and relax the muscle and come back to absorbing the head of the femur bone and see if it makes a difference. So trying to press this left buttock down, lifting the chest up. And we feel that length coming to the front thigh, to the left hip flexor, and up the length of the left waist. Inhabiting that. And then releasing, changing sides. So left leg forward, move the right knee back. Remembering to try to push the right buttock down towards the earth. And then press into the hand and lift the chest up to the sky. And that's when we really start igniting that sensation. The front of the right thigh linking to the right hip flexor area and pulling that up the length of the right waist. And coming out of that. Okay, coming back to Yoga Mudra Vajrasana, take our straps this time. We're going to give our front hip flexors the sensation of the strap, helping to invite that strap in with the action of the bones and this muscle that we've lengthened and thus softened. So strap right here, using our hands to pull the strap back so we can really feel that. And let the body go with that. Don't resist it. Keep drawing the strap back. Drawing the strap back. Going with that. And then yes, at some point we're going to have to release that strap, but keep the action. So here we go, Yoga Mudra. And with each exhale, deepening the valley and bringing in the memory of the strap, the sensations of that, adding that into the creation of this valley to give an even deeper connection to that, to enhance it even more. Here we go. 3 exhalations. Last little pull there. And releasing. Okay, we're now going to come to Hanumanasana. So front-legged splits, basically. Looking at the actions of So taking whatever supports you need. I'm going to get some blankets so that we can really sit without too much agony and examine and feel. Alright, so I'm folding up some little supports that I'm going to put underneath my front thighs as needed. And of course bolsters work. Anything that can just give you some height. So diagonalizing. So first of all, right leg forward, left leg back, we're preparing. We're going to turn the toes of the back leg under and straighten that back leg. And roll the back leg in so our hips are really facing forward. And now, moving that right foot forward enough that you can straighten the leg as best as possible and be on the heel. So immediately, with this foot lifted, draw the head of this right femur bone into the hip socket. And stay conscious of that as we start to come down to our maximum expression of this pose today. And we do that by moving that back leg back, by keeping the head of this right femur bone connected into the hip socket. And yes, we're of course feeling the same area in a different way on the front of the back groin. And it's doing that stretchiness. So we're pressing the left buttock down and pushing into our hands to lift the chest up. And at the same time, drawing the head of the right femur bone into the hip socket. So two distinctly different sensations in the same areas, but on the right and the left. So just being with that with the breath for a few cycles. Okay, changing sides. So starting with the left leg forward. And then we turn the right toes under. And charge that back leg. We start to move this foot forward until we come onto the heel. And with the foot lifted, we travel up the leg and we draw the head of the left femur bone into the hip socket. Now we begin to come down. Keep rolling that back thigh in. Press this right buttock down, but lift this right waist up at that length. Painting that area with the breath. And then, of course, simultaneously drawing the head of this left femur bone into the hip socket. So two very distinct melodies being played here. And let's just explore those with the breath for a few cycles. Coming back to our yoga mudras with our straps. And reigniting the depth. Seeing if there's been a difference in the depth now than before after Hanumanasana. So really pulling back evenly with the right and left hands. And noticing as the muscle, the front muscle there, still bulging forward, resisting the strap, can you flatten it and invite the head of the femur bone in. Yoga Mudrasana. And reconnecting the exhalation to the shape of those two valleys that are deepening towards the buttock bones with each exhale. and coming back up. Okay, we're going to come to a mini Shirshasana headstand where we're going to have our knees bent and we're going to look at how the head of this femur bone comes into the hip sockets in that Shirshasana. So, gathering whatever you might need. And of course, if you're using a wall, adjust for that. And let's begin. So interlocking the fingers, thumbs pressing. Don't let the elbows get too wide. When they get wide, the shoulders hunch. So keep them the width of the shoulders and no wider. And coming in. Pressing our forearms down and lifting the shoulders up, lifting the trapezius muscles up, over and over again. Really getting the upper back alive here. Walking the feet closer, closer, re-lifting the shoulders, re-lifting the trapezius muscles. And now we're going to bend the knees. And find half Shirshasana if you will. Knees bent. Line our feet up, line the inner knees up like when we had the straps around them in our supine twists. Keep lifting the shoulders up, the trapezius muscles up. And now traveling to the front groins. Imagine there's a strap there and someone is standing behind you and they are pulling the right strap, the left strap, and you're going with the strap, you're deepening the front groins. And see how it beautifully helps move the abdominal cavity back towards the spine whilst lifting and pulling the side ribs. So it brings that shape of Uddiyana Bandha. Okay, now we're going to slowly bring the kneecaps to face the sky. And we're going to point the toes down towards the earth. The heels are close to the buttocks. Keep the alignment as if you had straps wrapped around your legs. And press the middle buttocks forward as we push the front thighs back. And feel the stretch that's now coming to the front head of the femur bone, the front groin area. So we're alternating between the lengthening of that area and then bringing depth and integration to that area. Keep the shoulders lifted, the trapezius muscles lifted. And we're going to bring the knees back down, and in the movement of bringing the knees back down, begin to invite the head of that front femur bone into the hip socket. Have that imaginary strap there, being drawn back. The shoulders lifting, the trapezius muscles lifting. And then slowly, gently, unrolling all the way down. Yoga Mudrasa. Connecting with the exhale to the depth of the front groins. 3 exhalations. Breathing that shape into our psyches, our bodies, our cells. Okay, moving the blankets and feel those supine poses, and then salvadas on the shoulders down. In the supine poses, we're going to deepen our connection to this front groin. So we're going to make a loop in our strap that's bigger than the last one we had. And essentially, you can just try it out here, what it's going to feel like. So one part of the strap is going in the root here, and the other part of the strap is going here. You don't want to be able to completely straighten this leg, otherwise you'll have nothing left to push on. So that's why I'm keeping it purposefully a little bit shorter than my actual leg length. And then lying down. So let's start with the right knee bent and the strap right there in the root of the thigh. And then the left foot is pushing that part of the strap away. If the buckle is in the root of the thigh, it's going to hurt. You don't want to move the buckle to the side, somewhere out of the way. Interlocking the fingers. And now traveling with our mind to the left foot. And there are two ways we could press the foot. We could press the outside edge of the foot against the strap, or we could press the inside edge of the foot against the strap. So we want to press the inside edge of the foot against the strap, which connects to the outer right hip, and it pulls it down towards the foot and helps the correct depth to come to that front groin. So 5 exhalations, really pushing firmly with the inside edge of that left foot to connect with the right outer hip and deepen the front groin. Here we go. And releasing, changing sides. So right foot into the strap, left knee bends. Take that strap right down to the root of that thigh. Here's the outer hip. So we have 2 options. We can press into the outside edge of the right foot, which pulls more on the inner groin. Or we turn that and we press into the inner edge of that right foot, and it connects here, pulling this outer hip down and deepening this front groin. All right, 5 exhalations, really exploring that. Here we go. And releasing. Okay, beautiful. There's a whole new tenderness in this area. And inviting back in at the structures of the body. And at the same time, can you feel how pacified the abdomen becomes from that action? So deep healing going on here. Let's take that into Salvangasam and Kalamavidasa. So I'm going to be working with 5 blankets. And if you have 2 blocks, there's something really nice to do with the blocks. If you don't have them, it's okay. Just seeing them visually is actually going to ignite that action in the body too. But if you have them, definitely get them out. It's worth it. Okay. All right. Here we are. Preparing the loop of our straps for our arms, for our shoulders. So similar to Shirshasana, we don't want to let our arms be too wide behind us, so the strap will help us stay in touch with that. And over we go. cute nose. Alright, arms through the straps so that they're right above the elbows. And rolling those front shoulders back, easing the neck. And everything feels set. Hands onto the back. And bending the knees. Half Savandasa. So the hands are active, they're really helping the back body and the back ribs to push forward. The inner feet are lined up, the inner knees are lining up. And we're trying to create in this upside down sensation the same action as we had in Yoga Mudrasana and so many other poses we've done today, where the head of that front femur bone is being drawn into the hip socket. And then we're going to bring the knees to the sky and the heels towards the buttocks and the toes pointing down. And we're trying to pump the middle buttocks forward and push the front thighs back so that we feel length in that area now. And now straightening the legs. And pump the middle buttocks forward, push the front thighs back, charge the legs up, and feel length coming to that area here. And then bending the knees. And as the knees come towards us in the movement, deepen those front groins. And extend the feet back down to the floor. So we can take the strap off the arms. And allow our knees to bend to the block. And you can bring the blocks right in so that they actually cover the ears. And now wrap the arms around the backs of the knees, holding onto our elbows. Connecting with those front groins, and with the exhalation, finding a way to make the shape of that belly to follow and create that sensation of the front groins being drawn deeper and deeper and deeper into the hip sockets. And then observing how that shifts the pose, the experience of the asana for us when we do that. So here we go, a few breath cycles where the exhalation has that very particular task to do. And now changing the cross of the arms and immediately re-immersing into that exploration. And then releasing the arms. And slowly, with control, coming down. And we're going to move backwards. So moving the blocks. Just resting here, the knees resting against each other. Complete pacification of the entire abdominal area. And then moving backwards even more until our backs are on the floor completely. And crossing the ankles, right ankle in front of the left, Sukhasana. Arms above the head, holding onto the elbows. And with each exhale now, just complete pacification. Everything melting into the earth. And then changing across the ankles. And really settling into that complete letting go-ness. And now just gently uncrossing the ankles. Bringing the knees towards the chest one last time. Inner feet lined up, inner knees lined up. The shape of the belly, the penetration, the depth. And rolling over. And our practice is complete. So I hope that you're inspired for the rest of the day or the rest of the week about this area, its different actions, the lengthening as we push the buttocks forward and lift the chest up to really link it into the whole body, and the depth. So namaste. Hope we practice again together soon. Have an amazing day.